Alright, today we're going to be talking about exponential regression. You're going to need your calculator. I highly suggest whenever you put your calculator up today and right now before you start using it to clear it off. And I'll say this again, I think it's very important when you grab a calculator from now on to clear it. I've been saying that for, well, all year. Second, plus 712, enter. Now it's cleared. If I asked you to clear it and show me that it's cleared, second plus 712, I want that screen out there. Leave that screen on there. I'm fine with it. Let it turn off on its own. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to plug these in. The first thing you need to do is figure out what's going to be your x and your y. In this case, that's x, that's y. Most of the time, your x is going to be on top, your y is going to be on bottom. So your x is going to be on top, your y is going to be on bottom, usually. Time is what you have to control. I can control how long I leave it there or how long it's put in there. The population is what happens and comes out. That's why it's the y value. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to put this in the calculator. Before we put this in the calculator, let's make sure we turn our diagnostics on. When we turn our diagnostics on, it's not important to first find the answer, but it tells us how good our answer is. So to turn diagnostics on, you're going to press the blue key, the second, and go down to the 0 where it says catalog. From there, you're going to go down to where it says diagnostic on. Diagnostic on. Enter. You have not done anything until you press enter again and it says done. If it does not say done, you did not do anything. Now that's turned on, we can go ahead and we can start putting this in. So press the stat key. We're going to go into the edit. X is your L1. Population is your y, which is your L2. So we're going to put all the x's in first. 1, enter, 2, enter, 3, enter, 4, enter, 5, enter. Then we go to the other side. You have to go to the right over. 1000, enter. 1050, enter. 1175, enter. 1340, enter. 1450, enter. You need to make sure that these are level. Sometimes we'll accidentally hit a button or like a 0 down here or a 1 or tap the number and it makes these columns uneven. They have to be even or you're going to get an error later on. It won't tell you now, but it will tell you later on. You have to go back and find it. So make sure they're even. Double check your data before you go on. Okay, so we're done with this. To get our equation, you have to figure out what type of equation. Today, and what we do for a while, is probably all going to be exponential regression because we're studying exponential functions. You want to look at the data. To look at the data, you can go to the graph. But right now when I go to my graph, I don't see it. So what I want to do is I want to turn my stat plot on. To turn my stat plot on, I press the blue key. So press the blue second key. Then the y equals key. Press it. And then it says plot 1 off. Enter. Enter. You've now turned it on. Then I can go to my graph and my points are there. But wait. Even though I've turned my points on, my points are not there. The reason they're not there is because you can't see them because they're off the chart and they're way up there somewhere. So we have to do a zoom. So go to the zoom key, and you go down to zoom stat. Since we've been going into that stat, the zoom stat automatically fixes our table, our graph, where we see all of our points. And what we're looking for here is the fact that this starts going up and up and up. That's why we think this is exponential. If it was a straight line, that would be linear. If it had a curve, we would probably call that quadratic. But since this goes flat and starts going up, that's exponential. This one's probably a little bit off. When we get our line, it'll probably go up through here. Guess we'll see in a little bit. So let's go in back to stat, and let's see if we can get the line of best fit, or regression equation. So go back to stat. Stat's right here. Press it, and instead of editing it and putting numbers in, let's go ahead and go over to calculate. We're going to go now down to exponential regression, which is 0, the 10th one down, X reg. Press enter. Excuse me. Thank you. And L1, L2, again, that's my X and my Y. And we're just going to go down to calculate, hit enter, and there's my equation. Here's my equation. It even tells us what form to put it in. So if I wanted to create my equation, I would have A, which is my 885.82, nearest hundredth, that's 2 decimal places, times my B. B is 1.10, that round stays there, and that is to the X power. There you go. There's my equation. Now it says use your equation to predict the population at month 15. Then C also says predict how long it will take for the town to reach 9,600. Well, the easiest way for me to solve those two problems would be to look at it in the table. Now, I can either type this in the table, or I can have the calculator do the work for me. So instead of just going through and pressing enter a bunch of times and getting to the screen, what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to go back to the stat, go back over to the calculate like I did before. We're still going to go down to the exponential regression, press enter. But what we're going to do here where it says store reg EQ, we're going to stop here, and we're going to use this key right here below the little arrow pad that says vars. So let's go ahead, press the vars key. We want to go over to where it says y vars. We want a function, and you'll notice we have y1, y2, y3. What this is doing is it's saying we're going to put whatever function it makes into y1 automatically for us. So I'm using my x is L1, my y is L2, that's what this says up here. And I'm going to store my regression equation in y1 for me. It's going to store it and put it automatically into the little graph part for me. Go down to calculate. I get the same numbers. The screen is identical. Oh, and by the way, if we would not have turned on regression, we would not have gotten the r squared and r values. The reason we know this data fits the line very well is because these numbers are close to 1. My r squared is close to 1, so it's a good fit. By the way, let's go ahead and look at that graph. There are my points we saw earlier, and this is that line that is being put in there for us. So I go look at y equals, all those numbers are in there. It put it in, because I put it into y1, it put it in there for me. So it looks like it does pretty good. It goes kind of straight through all those points. That one's actually a very good point. Alright, so now let's go to the table. To go to the table, we can figure these out. Population at month 15. Well, months is my x value. Month 15 is where x is equal to 15. Population then would be 3,893. Population, not going to be a decimal in this case. Predict how long it'll take to reach 9,600. So let's just scroll down, and the population is my y value. So let's find y of 9,000. 9,600. So it'll be somewhere but after 24 months. So a little past 24 months. You could also plug those in and solve for it if you want. Let's just go ahead and plug it into the calculator and look in the calculator for now. I will gladly take that. Alright, let's do that one more time. Alright, so we have a new situation. Table shows time, months, and rabbit population in a part. Anytime you're talking about population, you're typically going to be exponential anyway. So let's go ahead. I'm going to clear some of this. Well, I'm going to go ahead and clear this out. And I'll show you why. I say you don't have to. I'm going to clear y out. And I'm going to go to my stat so I can put this in. Edit. And this is how we do this. We do not delete. We go to L2, we hit clear, enter. Go to L1, here's clear, hit clear, enter. Do not press delete in here. It's going to throw you off. If you delete L1 and L2, it can get complicated to get them back. Let's go ahead and put these in. 1 enter, 2 enter, 3 enter, 4 enter. 4, 5, 8, 12. Okay, once my data is in, I'm going to look at it. So let's go ahead and just look at it in the graph. Can't see a thing. The reason I can't see a thing is my scale is all off. So I'm going to do zoom stat. Look at the data. You see that exponential shape? See the exponential shape? That's what you want to see. Definitely for population. That's why we know it's exponential, because it has this shape. Again, we're doing exponential, so most of these are exponential anyway. Now we're going to go back to stat. And we're going to calculate with this. We're going to go down to exponential regression, since we saw it look like an exponential equation or graph. Hit enter, L1, L2, and we're going to store it in Y1. So I'm going to again store reg EQ, tap vars, go to the Y vars. Remember, we're putting this in Y1. In Y bars, go to function, and Y1 is the first one. And you can put these in Y2 or Y3 if you really want to, but not really a situation where we need to do that. So it's going to be put in Y1, enter. There's my equation. Let's go ahead and copy that equation while we can see it right here. A is 100th, 2 decimal place, 258 times 1.46 to the x. You see how this value is very close to 1. That means that it's a good fit. And then I'm just going to hit the graph button. See how close our line comes. That looks like a pretty good fit for me. Again, we saw that from the R value anyway, so you can see how close it is visually there. Let's start our predicting. Predicting. We're going to use the table. Oh, wrong button. Second graph. It says 11th month. A month is my X value. Oh, X value. So month 11. So 11 is my X value. That is, wow. In 11 months, there'll be 162 rabbits. Now, why am I not putting 162.5 rabbits? You can't have 0.5 rabbits. Okay, 162. How long will it take for the rabbit population to get 5,000? So population, that's the y. So find where y is equal to 5,000. It's going to be right after 20 months. Again, we could set this up. We could put 20,000 over here for y and solve that. We're not going to mess with that right now, though. Just look in the calculator, figure it out like that for now. What y'all are going to do right now is y'all are going to use what I just talked about, and y'all are going to start finishing these. This is plugging in to the calculator, finding the equation, and predicting. This is going to show up several times on your next test.